Hello everyone, welcome to the Beckett in XR lecture. My name is Neil O'Dwyer and I am the principal investigator of a new Irish Research Council funded project here in the drama department. It's called PixArt and this stands for Performative Investigations into Extended and Augmented Reality Technologies. So today we will be looking at Beckett in XR, and XR stands for Extended Reality, and this refers to all technologies that belong to the spectrum that extends from virtual reality to augmented reality. For the analysis of remediating Beckett in XR, we are going to look at a series of interpretations of a single Beckettian play entitled Play, which Beckett wrote in 1963. And the remediated series were produced as a collaboration between the drama department and the Department of Computer Science, specifically with the research group called vSense. And these took place between 2017 and 2019. So, the entire series is called Extended Reality Play, or XR Play, and consists of a live webcast version, which is Intermedial Play, a virtual reality version called Virtual Play, and an augmented reality version called, you guessed it, Augmented Play. And for this class we will be looking specifically at the VR version, but a brief explanation of the other two is necessary. So the first one was Intermedial Play. This is the live webcast, and this involved a live webcast of Samuel Beckett's play using a pan-tilt-zoom camera. And you can see a pan-tilt-zoom camera down there in the bottom below the main image. This is a camera that can tilt, pan and zoom. Beckett's original script is conceived for the proscenium arch paradigm of theatrical spectatorship. 3 actors encased in 3 identical grey urns, I quote, 3 identical grey urns about 1 yard high, are positioned downstage, and they face, quote, undeviatingly front throughout the play. The action of the play is the interrogation of the characters by the spotlight, and under duress the actors give interrelated but individual accounts of a love triangle. Each actor has a monologue that they must recite. However, these monologues are interwoven as a quasi-dialogue, and they may only speak when the light is on them. As such, Beckett's original theatrical text consists in the audience bearing witness to a sort of Pavlovian trial. However, audience members only witness. They sit in the relative comfort and safety of the auditorium and passively observe the proceedings. So I'm just going to show you a brief clip from the intermedial version of Play.
Yes, pace on the scene, all out, all the pace, as if never been, it will come. Pardon, no sense in this, so I know. When the last one you with peace, I mean, not merely all over, but as if never been.
My best, all I can.
We were not long together.
Sitting.
I said to him, give her up. I swore by all I held most sacred.
One morning as I was sitting stitching by the open window, she burst in and flew at me. Give him up, she screamed, he's mine. Her photographs were kind to her. Seeing her now for the first time full length in the flesh, I understood why he preferred me.
We were not long together when she smelled of the rat. Give up that whore, she said, or I'll cut my throat. Pardon, so help me God. I knew she could have no proof, so I told her I did not know what she was talking about.
What are you talking about? I said, stitching away. Someone yours. Give up whom?
So I'm just going to jump forward.
And the last one is in
Get
peace.
off me.
I
Keep
mean,
off me.
not merely all over, but as
All
if
over.
never been.
I
We were
said
not
to him,
long
give her
together.
up. I said to him, give her up. I swore by all I held most sacred.
One morning as I was sitting stitching by the open window, she burst in and flew at me. Give him up, she screamed, he's mine. Her photographs were kind to her. Seeing her now for the first time full length in the flesh, I understood why he preferred me.
We were not long together when she smelled of the rat. Give up that whore, she said, or I'll cut my throat. Pardon, so help me God. I knew she could have no proof, so I told her I did not know what she was talking about.
What are you talking about? I said, stitching away. Someone yours. Give up whom? I smell you off him, she screamed. He stinks of bitch.
Though I had him dogged for months by a first-rate man, no shadow of proof was forthcoming, and there was no denying that he continued as assiduous as ever. This and his horror of the merely platonic thing made me sometimes wonder if I were not accusing him unjustly, yes.
What have you to complain of, I said? Have I been neglecting you? How could we be together in the way we are if there was someone else? Loving her as I did with all my heart, I could not but feel sorry for her.
Fearing she was about to offer me violence, I rang for Erskine and had her shown out. Her parting words as he could testify if he is still living and has not forgotten. Coming and going on the earth, letting people in, showing people out. Word to the effect that she would settle my hash. I confess this did alarm me a little at the time.
She was not convinced. I might have known. I smell her off you, she kept saying. There was no answer to this, so I took her in my arms and swore I could not live without her. I don't believe I could have.
Judge then my astonishment when one fine morning as I was sitting stricken in the morning room, he slunk in, fell on his knees before me, buried his face in my lap and confessed.
Okay. That'll give you a little sense of what it is that we created using this pan-tilt zoom web camera. So as you can see, we harnessed the specificities of the medium by first of all moving between the actors' faces at high speed using this robotic camera, and secondly recording, actually playing back the mechanistic sound of the movement of the camera, and so you get this much more immersive sense of witnessing the play. It draws the audience into the drama, and this is, you know, harnessing technology to achieve this. It's bringing the audience closer to the action, but not fully immersed in the action, and this is something that we drive towards with the VR version. So in intermedial play, we replaced the spotlight with the pan-tilt zoom camera. And the main goals of the project were threefold. To reactivate Beckett's text by reinterpreting it for the redefined conditions of contemporary spectatorship over intermedial digital networks. 2. To employ the new technologies of digital media and to harness video surveillance devices such as zoom, framing and the first-person gaze to align the spectator with the interrogation process and to bring them closer to the dialogue or action. And 3, to harness the newly democratized technologies of live broadcasting to preserve and extend the reach and accessibility of the theatre spectacle. Although we used video technologies and the event was automatically recorded, the emphasis of the project was on maintaining the energy, pressure and dynamism of the live. We immediately recognized the aptness of play to XR, that's extended reality, and the exciting opportunities afforded by translating it to the media. Beckett's original script consists of an interactive game between the light operator and the actors. which exposes the mechanisms behind their functioning and foregrounds the theatre itself. It deeply engages notions of dialogue and interactivity, and is self-reflexive on the ontology of staging drama. The imminent, interactive and ludic qualities at the heart of play make it an ideal text to migrate to virtual reality, because the medium's inherent playful qualities, proven by its success in the gaming sector, for example, afford new possibilities for investigating how drama might work with an actively engaged audience. Therefore, it was mutually agreed that the practice-based research collaboration revolving around the play text would continue, and version 2.0 was conceived. Virtual play.
We'll love nothing.
So, the goals of virtual play were to conceive an interactive, immersive story that would demonstrate innovative, cutting-edge video capture research techniques being developed in Trinity. 2. To explore the potential for their deployment in interactive narratives, thereby helping to reinvent storytelling by eliciting the new specificities of interactive digital media. And 3. To test the viability of translating the works of celebrated authors for the VR medium, so that they continue to be celebrated by new generations of content consumers, under the evolved conditions of mediatized spectating in the 21st century. The decision to progress to the second stage affirms our practice as research methodology by continuing the primary research goals of version 1, but applying them in the context of VR technologies. I will now show you a video trailer of the work, which I think very succinctly describes the unique specificities of VR play.
Virtual play is a reimagining of Samuel Beckett's theatrical text entitled Play for digital culture. Play was chosen because it specifically engages the question of dialogue and interactivity. The sequence of the actors speaking is determined by a moving spotlight, which Beckett calls the interrogator. They speak when the light is on them and fall silent when the light is off. So play is a game of interaction between the light operator and the actor, mediated by light technology. In our VR version, we acknowledge the role of the user as active. We recognize new opportunities for narrative and give the power of activation over to the end user, whose gaze becomes the spotlight. The user thus embodies the interrogator and is empowered to independently discover the story merely by looking at the characters.
Yes, strange darkness best, and the darker the worse, till all dark then all well for the time, but will come, the time will come, the thing is there, you'll see it, get off me, keep off me, all dark, all still, all over, wiped out.
I said, have I been neglecting you? How could we be together in the way we are if there was someone else? Love.
The photographs were kind to her. Seeing her now for the first time full length in the flesh, I understood why he preferred me.
Her as I did with all my heart, I could not but feel sorry for her.
I said to him, give her up.
The user also has 6 degrees of freedom to move around the virtual environment, so the experience is one of active immersion, as opposed to passive observation. Virtual play questions the essence of the performance spectacle in digital culture. The project aims to investigate how narrative, perception, communication, and embodiment have been altered through contemporary media, and asks how they might operate in the future.
We were not long together once.
Just a shame. But I doubt it, I doubt it.
Virtual play is a reimagining of Samuel Beckett's theatrical text.
Apologies. Okay. So, As VR head-mounted displays, or HMDs for short, become more pervasive and art-going publics increasingly consume content via digital media networks, new and pressing questions emerge. How will classical stories and narratives continue to be consumed and appreciated in the new digitized world? How will the works of celebrated authors be passed on to new generations of art consumers, expectant of engaging with content via electronic paradigms? Indeed, how will such stories survive in the future? These questions, and more like them, animate the newly established PixArt research project, as well as the Trinity Centre for Beckett Studies, as much as they concern the technologists. So, this project was created using a technology called volumetric video. This is a cutting-edge capture technique that has the potential to re-empower performing artists in the expanding economy of virtual reality and augmented reality. It is a video recording technique where an array of digital video cameras arranged in an arc covering the surface area from all possible angles simultaneously capture an actor or object. And you can see that in this picture here. You can see the cameras are set up around the subject, the actor, here in the center, who is in a green screen environment. So the actors are recorded against a green screen, and the footage is cut out in the post-production stage. And post-production also includes color correction, as the cameras can vary in color balance, and geometric calibration, which is the software estimating the camera's positions to make the stitching possible. The footage is stitched together using innovative computer vision software algorithms, facilitating the construction of a volumetric video mesh with photorealistic texturing that can be displayed in 3D software and game engines. And here you see the mesh that's created. Here, this one, you can see the voxels and triangles that make up the 3D shape. And here's the final photorealistic actor's image. Okay? The result of VV capture, or volumetric video, VV for short, is the creation of a 3D volumetric video object that offers similar functionality to animated graphical objects created natively in 3D drawing software. That is, when viewed in a virtual scene, the user is afforded free navigation and can choose their own point of view and proximity to the object. Scene development. For visualization, a scene is built using a game engine. Here, the scenography of the experience is defined and is typically composed of one or more volumetric video assets, as well as 3D generated computer graphic elements and static real-world objects that are digitized using, for example, photogrammetry. That is, the generation of 3D geometry from multiple 2D images. Different scenes can be designed and combined into a narrative. Interaction, navigation, and so on are all designed using common game engine functionalities. So here, for example, you see the stone urns that were designed to capture. These are the stone urns that encase the actors in the 3D world, and here you can see the overall set design, which is also built in 3D modeling software, 3D Studio Max actually, and This particular design is based on the Pantheon, the Roman Pantheon, the goal of which was to evoke the setting of a mausoleum or a sepulchre, because the setting implied by Beckett is a purgatory or afterlife. A remarkable affordance of the VV technology is that it is highly flexible. The same VV assets may be used in different versions of the content, such as virtual reality and augmented reality head-mounted displays. This is a virtual reality one. This is an augmented reality head-mounted display. And I'll explain that a little bit more in detail in a minute. And the content can also be displayed on handheld devices like mobile phones and tablets. So it is precisely this flexibility that afforded us to progress the research to a third and final stage, version 3.0, Augmented Play. So, augmented reality, or AR for short, is a technology that allows people or audiences to visually merge computer, graphical, and computer rendered objects with real-world objects and scenes using a mobile phone, a tablet, or a head-mounted display. As opposed to virtual reality, it permits the user to see the world around them. It does not close off the outside world by fully immersing the audience in a computerized world. Therefore, AR technology is highly suitable to allowing people to interact with stories at site-specific locations, which means it is ideal for location-based, immersive, role-play and site-specific drama. Excuse me. Augmented Play has much in common with the earlier VR version because it uses the same volumetric video assets, and the mode of user interaction and narrative development is also similar. However, the viewing paradigm is different. They are displayed using either the Microsoft HoloLens or the Magic Leap augmented reality head-mounted displays. The user narrative paradigm is also the same as the virtual reality version. Experiencers are... Hang on a sec, I skipped down too far there. Excuse me. Experiencers are invited to don the AR HMD, to embody an interrogator and explore the narrative by confronting virtual reconstructions of Beckett's characters. The user activates the characters into speaking by looking at them, so the artwork acknowledges the new condition of active audiences and recognizes new opportunities for narrative by affording audiences a central role in its unfurling. Considering the technology's suitability for site-specific drama, we premiered it in the cavernous vaulted stone basement of the CHQ building, which is appropriate to a crypt-like posthumous setting originally envisioned by Beckett. And so now I'll just show you a brief snippet of a screen recording taken from somebody wearing this augmented reality display, which is about a minute long.
Between them, I can't have her crashing in here, she said, threatening to take my life.
A little jaunt to celebrate to the Riviera or our darling Grand Canary. He was looking pale, peaked, but this was not possible just then, professional commitments. When I was satisfied it was all over, I went to have a gloat. Just a common tart. What?
I must have looked incredulous. Ask Erskine, she said, if you don't...
Words as he could testify if he is still living and has not forgotten, coming and going on the earth, letting people in, showing people out. Word to the effect that she would settle my hash. I confess this did alarm me a little at the time. Why didn't you get out, I said when he started moaning about his home life. There is obviously nothing between you anymore, or...
Believe me. But she threatens to take her own, I said. Not yours, she said. No, I said hers. We had fun trying to work this out. Then I got frightened and made a clean breast of it. She was looking...
He could have found in her when he had me. Pudding face puffy, spots, blubbermouth, jowls, no neck, dugs you could, calves like a flunky.
and more desperate. She had a razor in her vanity bag. Adulterers take one.
Is there anything between us? He said. What do you take me for? Something machine? Of course, with him.
Warning, never admit.
Okay, that'll give you a little sense, a better sense of what is actually involved in the experience of experiencing this in augmented reality. So the project was a resounding success, and very well received by and it received special commendations from the following leading local, national and professional sectoral media channels. See here, it was reviewed on RT Lyric FM and in the Irish Times, so it's a highly regarded work. So, in conclusion, all evolutionary leaps in the technological domain impact on existing culture in ways that can be read as both positive and negative. Specifically, with Beckett's work, there is the inevitable debate on fidelity to the author's original vision. However, with rapidly evolving technologies and the modified conditions of access, spectatorship, and intersubjectivity, there is an urgent need for works to be migrated to new media, both for preservation and for making them accessible to art publics with evolved viewer expectations. Technological developments affect and pressurize a migration of Beckett's text from the familiar domain of theatre to a territory that is uncharted. It is only fitting that Beckett's text should be the vector for a foray into the technological avant-garde. Some of the original characteristics are lost in the translation, but new ones are gained. The transmission of the cultural artifact to the evolved milieu should not be straightforwardly interpreted as a cultural impoverishment. On the contrary, there is an intensification actuated by new expressive processes, psychosomatic prosthesis, and the global reach of a networked world. These in turn occasion augmented transnational, trans-epochal cultural connections. This rewiring of the cultural artifact for digitally reticulated territories also reciprocates a revitalization of the original at the local level. We believe that virtual play demonstrates how experimental, interdisciplinary collaborations between artists and scientists can help pave the way for revitalized and intensified cultural experiences by innovatively reconfiguring the relations between cultural artifacts and scientific innovation. Such collaborative experiments are not only important in relation to the technical, they are also of epistemological significance. They establish new pathways in which Beckett's works, creative technologies, and communities of practice, where both intersect and can go on. So, I hope you've enjoyed this lecture about XR and Beckett, and I look forward to meeting you in class, and for those of you who have yet to experience the work in virtual reality. So thank you for your attention, and take care. Thank you. Bye bye.